Squat Shack proudly presents Girls Night Out. Group of badass mothers showing you what it's like to be one bad mother.
Okay, so welcome back everyone to another Girls Night Out. I am your host, KJ Constance, whatever the hell you all want to call me, aka Mama Owl.
Hey, baby.
I am joined again with...
I am Ashley, aka Mama Penguin. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day and had a great weekend. And we also have our lovely third host.
I am Roberta, also known as Mama Macchiato, the coffee queen. Y'all like me better with coffee. You know it. I'm tired and I'm moving and I am drinking coffee and wine.
It's an interesting mix.
It's just complicated.
You know what I actually thought is, since we like coffee so much, getting like Bailey's and just, say fuck it. Do Bailey's and coffee.
I'll stick with the wine.
So what do we want to talk about today?
Well, let's start with some positive. Anybody had any good news
let's
happen
talk
to
about the TikTok that was going around in our group chat in Messenger.
Oh, today?
Yeah, tell me more.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, I watched one of the two, so I'm halfway there for a quiz.
Wait, I thought there was only two.
Yeah.
That's only two. I only saw one of the two. Like, I only watched one of the two.
Oh, okay. So you watched the first one.
It was about a woman talking about how God, if he wasn't ready to love you, the next man will be, or something like that.
Okay, so with that one, because I'm not a highly religious person, my best friend sent me that one. And when she sent it to me and I was just kind of listening to it, and I mean, I love her to death, but half the time when she sends me like religious kind of stuff, I kind of like, well, it's not like really over the top, but at the same time, I'm kind of listen to it, but at the same time, like, it's like, okay, dude, I love you and all, but I'm not the whole...
It's too much.
Kind of, almost. I mean, she really believes it, and if you believe it, you believe it. Like, it's kudos to you, but I'm just not there anymore. So, but, like, when she sent me that, I'm like, oh, man, like, it kind of hit me, so I was like, oh, maybe it would hit, like, you guys. So usually when I share TikToks, not unless it's Vinny, and I just like send shit.
Yes, she went overboard with that today too.
Oh, well, I mean that's like every day.
I thought it was moving. I felt like it was very moving. It was a very pretty lady that was very adamant about what she was saying. She seemed to be very moved by it, and so that's why I was curious. Like, oh, okay, or like, are you into religion? And
yeah, no,
like, is this something that we wanted to talk about tonight? Or?
Well, I thought with those, because again they dealt with more like a relationship kind of thing, and it was like with you going through your divorce, yes, whenever that is.
It should be at the end of the month.
Oh fuck, really? That's it?
Oh, well, we don't have anything to fight about. We had no kids together, no property together. I put his shit in storage, so he should have no reason to come to my house besides picking up his car. The house that we rent is through my employer, so unless he's going to get a job there's nothing really to fight about.
Is your divorce going to be final by the end of the month?
They plan on serving him before he gets out of rehab.
Or else they won't be able to find him.
Well, that's another thing. I told him, I said, he won't give me his address. And he is such a child. I have to text him through Vinny's phone because he's got me blocked.
He blocked you. I forgot all about that.
Like, he's 35 years old. Like, come on now. You made your bed. It's time to lay in it. And yes, some innocent children were involved and got dealt really shitty hands, but still, like...
Yeah.
If you are a religious type of person, please play for my super ex stepchildren because both their biological parents are pretty shitty.
POSs.
Oh yes.
Well, again, it was
But
just.
anyways, back to your point about
Yeah.
the whole.
It's just. It was just a whole. We've all gone through that narcissistic relationship, gone through bad relationships, and now kind of, I guess, finding ourselves or mending ourselves, even if it's not with someone else. Although I feel like in ways with Vinny this time around, it's gone better.
Oh yes, if you
It's gone
leave
better.
your past in the past and truly accept yourself and your flaws, and truly accept their flaws, and not pinpoint it out all the time.
Right.
So,
Vinny.
but I am learning to love myself for me, because being with a narcissistic person and an addict at the same time, which is even worse, they always project onto their new supply. So yes, he may say he doesn't want a relationship, but due to his personality, he will be in one.
He has to find that supply.
Yes,
That's
to stroke his ego.
Yeah. No,
Because I
that's
stopped doing that many years ago, and that's when Amy came in our lives on Mother's Day. So I got a mistress for Mother's Day, and Meth Head Casey.
I love it.
So yes, if you don't believe me, you can Google Casey Cherokee, Kansas, and you will find her mugshot.
that she's so proud of.
She is so proud of. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But again, yes, you have to learn to love yourself and truly forgive before you can move on.
And I think that's almost the problem with, I don't want to say with all women, but most women is, I know I've struggled with really knowing who I am and what, like really loving myself, and especially trying to pull myself away from the guys and trying to figure out like, okay, what is it really that I like? Not, it's like, okay, I know that he likes this, and I'm like, I'm cool with it too, boy.
How many of us have stepped into a relationship where we have literally dove into their life, where we let their life absorb us and we lose our own identity? Like, for example, with my ex-husband, we moved to Texas. We lived in the house that he bought with his ex-wife because that was like his dream. And
Red flag.
Right. Oh my God! You like, if you want to put some tally marks up somewhere, it'll be like blood dripping down the wall. There were so many red flags I overlooked.
Oh, yeah.
But seriously, I literally stepped into his life, let it absorb me. I quit cooking foods that I was raised eating and only cooked foods that he liked to eat. He absolutely refused to eat anything that I liked, even my favorite meal. You know, like, there was just so many things where I just stepped into his life, and it was really hard getting out. It gets harder before it gets easier. I say that a lot to people who are fresh out of breakups. Like, look, just wait. This is gonna get harder before it gets easier. But when you get to see yourself again, and you get to be yourself again, and you don't have to apologize to anybody for it, that is so much better than being miserable
Yep.
with somebody. I would rather be alone.
Yeah.
I agree with that, and that's kind of what happened to me when I got into the relationship with my soon-to-be ex-husband. It's like I just forgot myself. You know, I was so busy with the 4 kids, and 3 of the 4 kids have disabilities, so multiple doctor's appointments. And then on top of him, his health declined towards the end of our marriage, so last year into this year, and I just kind of forgot me, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I've built a friendship with somebody over the years, and we're getting to know each other a little better as it goes on, and but I've already told him, I was like, you know, I'm not looking for a relationship. I just want a friendship, someone I can talk to every day, someone I can hang out with, and be myself. No expectations. And it's been going great. I don't want anything other than that. So, Because
That's always good to hear.
you don't need a man or a woman to make you happy. You gotta be happy with yourself first.
Yo.
And Jake had a problem with that because towards when Amy came in the picture, I kind of stopped doing everything for him. You know, I started reading self-help books. I started following people on TikTok who was more inspirational. I mean, I even paid for a Christian marriage counseling thing for him, and he flaked out in 2 weeks.
Oh, shit.
Well,
And when I say paid, I mean it was like $2,000
what?
for like a 8-week boot camp thing, and he flaked out at 2 weeks.
What the?
And
oh
he
my
said
God.
it was too religious, and I was like, it says Christian marriage counseling. What do you think it was? But anyways, yes, it had a lot of God aspects. So back to what you were saying, but what they teach you in AA. Again, he's an alcoholic, and I've learned a lot about AA and Al-Anon and all this other stuff. That if you don't believe in God, you just change it to something else. So if your higher power to you could be a doorknob, they said. And so you say, okay, doorknob, I raise everything to you. Please help me with my sins or whatever. And so, like KJ, I really don't believe in God. I just believe there's somebody out there controlling the universe, regardless of what it is.
Right.
You know, but they did add aspects to me. Like, I learned a lot about myself, like what triggers me, what makes me motivated, what's my bucket list. Like, it had a lot of stuff that wasn't quote unquote religion. Now, he's self-centered again because he's a narcissist. He was okay with the Zoom calls every Thursday because that gave him an opportunity to talk about himself and talk about his military and get all these people to, you know, feel pity on him.
Right.
But he couldn't put in the work.
More supply.
Yes. And so your supply can be anything. It can be anybody who listens. And so I stopped listening. And that could have been the reason why my marriage, one of the reasons why my marriage failed. But I got tired of listening. After so many complaints, 5 years about the same shit, and you don't do anything about to fix it, I don't want to hear it anymore.
Oh my God, my ex-husband would have the exact same conversation with multiple people in the same day, telling them the same things. He would complain about his ex-wife, his wife number 1, I was number 2. There is a number 3 out there. And
Ex number 3, or he's currently married?
or he's currently married to her. Well, any day now she's gonna get done with it, I'm just sure. Anyway, so he would, you know, complain about her. He would complain about her to me, and then he'd get on the phone with like his mom and tell her everything. Same, I mean,
Complain.
almost verbatim, word for word, the same thing. And then he'd call a cousin, then he'd call a sister, and then he'd call a friend, and then, I mean, and I was just like, oh my God, dude. And then after we split and were divorcing, I could see that there were discrepancies in his story. Like, that was his way of rewriting that story. So what he was saying was not true, but he repeated it so many times that I think that in his head he
It was his
believed these
truth.
things to be true,
That's-
even though they're not. And he literally probably convinced himself of it. I mean, delusion at like its highest. It just boggled my mind. Just boggled my mind.
I guess the question that I have for you ladies is, when was your aha moments with these gentlemen that you realized he's a narcissist?
Well, I didn't get my aha moment until we had been separated for more than a year. Like, it
Really?
was like a light bulb going off in my head. The word narcissist popped in my head like a light bulb. And I went and started Googling, and oh my God, I was
was
married
just
to
like-
Jekyll and Hyde.
And that goes with alcoholics too, or just addicts, period, regardless of whatever your drug of choice is. But my aha moment probably was our first session of couples therapy, when I literally sit there for an hour and listen to him just talk about himself and about his military past, and then he was telling how guilty he felt for what he did, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. It was like, and this is the same gentleman who we went to a meeting for his daughter for needing help at school, and he literally talked about himself.
The whole time.
Not the whole time, but at least a good 15 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, Aaron's just like me. Aaron's just like me. And I'm looking at him like, Aaron's not like you. But in his mind, his daughter is like him, but
Did he ever actually accept responsibility?
no.
I think that's the part of
So
being
he-
a narcissist.
Like
is
he
they
talked
never.
about his mistakes,
But no, he never
but he
accepted
couldn't
it.
accept responsibility.
He would always come up with an
It's always somebody else's fault.
yes. Oh, yes. And like every time we got in a fight, he's like, I'm just not attracted to you anymore because your mouth. And I'm like, okay. All right, that's fine. But still, like, you gave, and then the shit that he's, that I know that he's told the first woman. She was like, he told me you were getting divorced, and he told me that you take all his money. And I laughed at her. I said, what fucking money do you think he has? Like, I literally have supported this man for 5 years. He's had probably 7 jobs in 5 years. Got fired for multiple stupid reasons. But again, yes, and she's like, and the
still-
house was his. I laughed at her. I was like, you are a fucking idiot. I was like,
Oh my god.
I'm like, and regardless, this is how I feel about cheating. And yes, I've cheated on people in my younger days. So early 20s. We'll just put 20s. Okay. But again, you mature. Okay. And so in your 30s, you should typically be somewhat grown up. Okay.
You would think.
You don't have to be perfect, but you at least have better morals, I would say, because you've learned. Like, that's what your 20s are for. Your 20s are for you to explore and learn and figure out what you want in life. I mean, that's just my opinion. But anyways. But if you knew there was a woman involved or a man involved, stay the fuck away until there is no equation. Like, how can you feel comfortable in your life knowing that you picked up a man who just climbed out of his bed with his wife to meet you at the duplex next door for you to pick him up in the middle of the night and bring him back? Like, you are a fucking idiot.
Oh my god.
Right?
And she was scared about being pregnant at 54 because she didn't believe if he had a vasectomy or not. Because they had unprotected sex. So again, if you're a side chick, make sure they wear a fucking rubber.
Ew.
Or a side man.
Ew.
Yes. So if you're going to involve yourself with a man who's living with a woman or a woman living with a man, at least be smart.
Ew. That's gross.
It is gross. It is. At least respect yourself enough to be safe and respect the other person because I didn't ask for you. I didn't ask for the other one. I asked for a man to be my husband who never was.
Well, you ended up with a fuckboy.
You're right.
But I'm a big bully, remember?
You know, a woman needs a man. A woman isn't going to be able to stand side by side with a fuckboy.
Nope.
You know, like, if I were to ever date again, it would be a man. Like, I am tired of fuckboys. You know, like, somebody fucking pay your bills. That would be probably the number one thing.
Is them paying their
Pay
bills?
your bills. If your water gets disconnected, I will turn it back on for you right before I break up with you. I'm done. I'm not doing it, you know?
Here's your prize for our relationship. Your water's turned back
Right?
on.
Like,
So you're not stinky for the next one.
I'm not inhumane, but I'm done.
Right.
You know, like, pay your bills, you know, like, get the kids to school. How hard is that, you know?
Oh yeah, the preschool, when Shelby was in preschool, they called me because she was late every day for 2 weeks. And the husband was supposed to be taking her to preschool.
What?
Oh yeah. Again, he's an alcoholic. He literally
Oh my
would
god.
sleep 18 hours a day. And the other 6, did I do my math right? 8, 6, 24? He would be drinking on a bottle. So I really hope rehab does him the second time. This is the second time rehab. I hope it sticks. He deserves to live a sober life if he does the treatment. His kids deserve a sober father.
But do you really think he's gonna do?
No,
Okay. I mean, I know
don't-
it's
I
the
don't
first
think so
size,
either.
but
no.
I don't think so either.
I mean, if this is his second
Yeah.
time,
I think that going to rehab was his quickest escape.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was his fastest shortest distance to the exit sign,
Yes.
and it gave him a way out.
Yes.
But on that way out, he could turn around and blame you for what he did. Because you know at rehab, he's bitching about you and how you're such a bully and blah, 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 blah. Anything except taking responsibility. And I hope that his counselors call him out on it. But that's kind of what I predict.
3 sides to every story: his, hers, and what actually fucking happened.
Right?
So I mean, it's God's side or whatever, and that's fine. Like if you believe in whatever, but I know the mistakes that I have done, and yes, I allowed it to happen. Yes, I chose to forgive him back in May and try to work on a relationship. But the moment he told me his plan was to go to rehab and get divorced, that's when it stopped for me. I stopped fighting. And then he didn't adjust to that very well either. You all can contest to that because I was at home. But I stopped. And that's what I follow a gentleman on TikTok who talks about his own narcissistic personality. Like he suffers from, it's a black guy.
The black guy with the dreads?
Yes.
Yes. I don't want to say I follow him, but after I went through my counseling and really realized that Squatch's dad is a narcissist, like I started following, like watching his.
Yeah, and his wife's on there too. She's I can't think of either one of their names, but anyways, he in one of his videos says the best way to get back at your narcissist is to live your best life.
Yup.
So, and that's what I did. I stopped talking to him. I stopped babying him. I stopped fighting for him because I was like, you know what? I'm done. The kids were miserable. And the funny thing is the day he left, the atmosphere in the house changed. All 4 kids were happy, excited. They didn't feel on eggshells. You know, they didn't ask, when's dad going to work? When's dad coming home? Is dad sleeping in his car again? You know, they didn't have any of those worries. Now, granted, a week later, our lives was turned upside down by the choices Jake and Janice made. But you know what? That's okay. I'll pick up the pieces and I'll move on, and I'm going to be a better version of myself. I'm going to learn what I did wrong in the relationship because, granted, nobody's perfect. And that's the whole point. The whole point when you break up is to learn from it. You learn from your mistakes and you don't settle. Like you were talking about earlier, pay your bills. I allowed him, I settled. When he did things against the boundaries, I settled and I accepted them because I didn't want the children to suffer.
All right.
Which is wrong. So again, if you're in that type of situation, get out. Because it's not worth it at the end. Hey, I have 3 open bedrooms, so if you ever all want to find me, you need a soul sister or a hidden sister or whatever sister you want to call it, just holler. You know?
So you want to hear my epiphany about my latest and greatest meth ex. So the shortest version of the story that I could tell is that I used to be best friends with this girl for 16 years. She's probably the only person that knew me from high school to adulthood. The only person who knew me through my whole life and all the different places that I've lived. Mm-hmm. Turns out she was doing meth, and I am very anti-meth. I don't know who wouldn't be,
Right.
So,
the meth heads who enjoy doing it.
right. So anyhow, I cut all ties with her. She totally stabbed me in the back. It was brutal. It was ugly. It was very painful. But my ex continued to be friends with her because he felt like he was rehabilitating her to be a decent human being because all of her other friends dumped her as well.
That's the joke my husband played to me about Amy. She was suicidal and I wanted to help her and blah, blah, blah. No, motherfucker. You wanted a new supply so you can move into her house.
So he stays friends with her, and I told him I wasn't really very comfortable with it, but I'm not your mama. I'm not going to tell you who your friends can and can't be. I just hope that you don't get screwed over like I did. Little did I know that he was doing meth as well. I haven't been around it enough to pick up on the signs, but the ironic thing is the things about our relationship that we argued about all rooted from his meth problem. Like, for example, he was really twitchy. which looking back on it now is an obvious sign. But, you know, I kind of just felt like, I don't know. And, you know, so he would fall asleep while we were talking. Evidently, I think it was because he was like coming down or crashing or something, and he literally could not stay awake. So if I was talking, he would fall asleep. If he was talking, he would stay awake. And then there were other things, but he guilt tripped me into sleeping with him. Because, you know, I was working like 50 hours a week, and he's retired military. All he had to do, literally all he had to do, was get the kids to school in the morning, and that was it. He liked to go out with his friends at night, play music, which is doing meth. Again, I was like, you know, hey, you're stuck with the kids. He stayed home with the kids while, you know, COVID had all the schools closed. I was like, you need a life. I remember what it was like being home with the kids. I wish I had a life. I wish I had friends, you know. So I didn't think anything of it. I figured he was sleeping, you know, at some point, you know, like stay out late, you know, get a few hours of sleep, get the kids to school, come back home, go back to sleep for a little bit, you know.
Right.
But no, you know, so it turns out that in his mind, he felt like he was helping me out so much, putting all of that on me, even though I would tell him, stop, just hang out with me. I don't want you to do my chores. I don't want you to do my stuff. Just hang out with me. I want to talk to you. I want to hang out with you, you know, and he wouldn't do that, you know, and so at the end of it, when he broke up with me, he said that it was because he was helping me and he felt like I didn't care about him enough because I wasn't doing enough. And I was like, dude, I've been burning my candle at both ends for years, literally, you know, when I was working at Wendy's. And I was like, you're asking me to give, but I don't have a well to tap this from. You know, I already spend every spare moment with you, so I don't know what else, you know, I could really be doing. He was like, we should go out more, so we went swimming as a family, where he stood on the side of the pool like a fucking psycho the entire time we were there. And he was always having an anxiety attack. And I was like, no. Looking back on it, no, dude, you were on meth. So, anyway, this guy created this story in his head that he was helping me, that he was helping me, that he was helping me, and then put it on me and broke up with me, when in reality, he was doing meth. He knew that for me, meth would be a deal breaker. He knew that it was just a matter of time until I figured it out, and it would be a deal breaker. And so he wanted to rewrite that story and, you know, break up with me the way he did, which is why he has cut all ties, which is why he is too chicken shit to even go back to his own house across the street from me, because he is fucking afraid of me, because he is bitch made.
Just remember, the trash took themselves out. So just celebrate that.
So I'm like, it is just a matter of time before I have removed myself from this toxic situation. And I'm just excited and I'm exhausted and I can't wait to really put it behind me.
And you're going to start with that with your new house next weekend.
Hell yeah.
Right?
So then you don't have that constant reminder across the street.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I cannot wait to just
Be done.
Yes.
awesome.
I can't wait to make new memories in my house with the girls and whoever else comes along.
Right? We got our cool little village that we got going on.
We do have a cool little village.
I'm really loving that. That's going to be amazing. I think that we're, you know, kind of setting ourselves up for better.
Yes.
Better expectations, you know. Like, and it's kind of ironic because I have spent the last few years trying to define love because I've never known love. Every single person that I ever dated, the one guy I married, every single one of them are raging narcissists, toxic narcissists. I don't know what love is. I didn't love those people. I don't know who they were. They were Jekyll and Hyde. They pretended to be one person one day and they turned into somebody else the next. I don't know who they are. How could I love them? They knew who I was. They took advantage of me. You know, so if love is acceptance and I can't accept meth, then Josh knew that I didn't really love him because I couldn't accept him doing meth. You know, the same thing as he didn't love me because he couldn't accept me for who I was, because I was burning my ass off working 50 hours a week, you know, with no spare time, and that wasn't good enough for him, you know? So I don't, you know, like right now, I don't want to ask anybody for help because that's a double-edged sword, you know? If they're going to throw it in my face later, no thanks. I'll do it on my own. I don't need that shit. Nobody needs that shit.
Right.
You know, if you're going to help somebody, help them. If you're not, keep walking. Like, I chewed somebody out today on Facebook because...
You big mo bully.
I know, right? They were, it was something about going into outer space. That rich guy that is wasting his money going to outer space.
The Amazon dude?
Elon Musk?
I don't know.
Or I don't know. But I got on there, I was pissed off, and I was like, you know what? Why is this guy wasting money going into outer space when he could literally end world hunger?
But they don't want to.
Because it won't stroke his ego in the right way.
Somebody got on there and they're like, oh, he's already said that if somebody could give him a number, then he'll ante up and do it. And I'm like, why do they have to give him a number? Why doesn't he just do it?
It's just because, again, like she said, no one's stroking their fucking ego enough to do it.
And, you know, and so this person...
Because they'll get more people thinking, oh, cool, he went to space.
Random-
he wasn't an astronaut and blah, blah, blah.
Random stranger on Facebook is all like, well, how did he say it? He was like, why, you know, like, why does he have to, you know, or whatever? And I'm like, he made his money off of all these people, you know? Like, why shouldn't he, you know? I don't know. I don't get it. I do not get it. Like, where one person has more money than half of the entire country, we're squabbling over crumbs. You know, it's just... Oh, I know what it was. It was about generosity and donations. He was like, you know, nobody wants to donate to a stranger. People only want to donate when they know where that money is going, because people need to feel like they're in control of where their money is going, even when they donate it. But in Kabbalah, in Judaism, probably even in Christianity, the anonymous gift is the greatest gift. Because you don't have control over it. Because you have to let it go.
But then how is panhandling like a big employment for people across the world?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many of those homeless people are actually homeless versus the person that walks over to their Mercedes.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
like,
but
all these people give it to panhandlers all the time. Like,
Right.
There is a guy that is over between Wendy's and Walmart all the time, an old man.
yeah, I saw him at Big Lots the other day.
Every time I see him, I give him $10 to eat. Because I worked at Wendy's. I see him out the window walking up and down that road between Walmart all day long. I know he's homeless, you know, like I just know, you know, and he's a nice guy and everything. So every time I see him, I'll give him like $10. And I don't see him very often, but, you know, but I know he's homeless, you know. And I think those people that are frauds, they'll get theirs.
Oh, yes. I love karma.
You know, but if you look at social services, the welfare queens, less than 10% of those are fraud. So I, in my personal opinion, feel like it is unethical to take services away from needy families because less than 10% are fraud. But there was this rich asshole that for shits and giggles went and signed up for social services and was able to get like food stamps or something. And he went and pointed it out that he was able to finagle his way into it. And the consequence of that was that they took a lot of social services away from people. Over that one asshole because he was just trying to prove a point. Less than 10%.
That's crazy.
You know, but here we are, you know, we don't want to raise taxes on the rich because we think we're going to be rich someday. Bullshit.
I'm never gonna be rich.
The American dream is not real. We live in a caste system
their likelihood of us making out of the position that we were born into in the United States, it's not going to happen.
Unless you birth a prodigy child or something and you get off their fortune.
Very rich.
Right.
I told Erin that's never gonna happen. 'Cause
Find
she's
a
like, I'll just
Rockefeller.
find a man to take care of me. And I said, excuse me?
It takes 2 incomes to survive.
I was like, if you find a rich man, then most likely he's never gonna be home. He's gonna be abusive, or you're not gonna like him later in life. Like, no.
He's rich because he's got a roommate.
His kid
Yes.
or his mama. Which that's fine. If I meet a man that lives with his parents, you know what?
That's not gonna be a deal breaker for you.
No, but it's like I gotta know why you're living with them. So like, are they ill? Do you live in a basement in a huge like set up apartment or something? You know, and you have your own in and out. You know, you don't have to go through upstairs. You know. Or are you going through a divorce yourself and that's the only means you had temporarily? You know, it all depends on the situation. But don't lie. We are in a society that everybody lies.
Right?
And they wonder why the dating scene is fucked up.
Unapologetically. Oh my gosh. Okay, so get this.
'Cause we fuck it up.
In the dating world, everybody pretends to be somebody else because they want them to like me. You know, like, I want you to like me, so I'm going to lie and pretend like I'm somebody else. I'm going to pretend that I'm better than I really am. Whereas we really should just walk into it, you know, without any makeup on, without doing our hair, and just be like, you know what, this is what I look like the morning after. Can you
Yes.
handle it? If not, walk away now. You know, like, I don't understand why are people spending all their time pretending to be someone they're not to apologize for it later.
I always think it's funny because I think there's a TikTok that was going around that's saying like women wearing makeup is a fucking catfish, and then women are like men wearing sweatpants is like a catfish.
Something make the bulge bigger.
Yep.
The sweatpants make the bulge bigger.
Do they really?
I guess. I don't know.
I
I don't wear sweatpants. And I don't have a man that wears sweatpants. But that also reminds me of like the body shape stuff that you can buy to make yourself slimmer.
Spanx.
Like, what's the point of wearing that? Because like when you come out of the bathroom and something sexy, like it's gonna go bloop back out. Like,
yeah.
so, and that's why they say to put a natural all body picture on like your dating profiles and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand catfishing people. That's just the people who do the catfishing just needs to have a I don't know, just a life, I guess, and accept themselves and don't lie, because eventually the lies. I've always told my ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband and the kids, like, I don't need to worry about things. It's like, because the skeletons will come out of the closet. Like, so if you are lying about something, it will come out.
Yep.
Like, the truth always comes out.
Yep.
And if
shit
it
follows
doesn't,
you can move to another state. I've done it 9 times. Shit follows you.
so,
You're still the same person in the new state.
yep.
You know, you're still that same guy.
I mean, like the moment, I don't know if like, I think tapping into your phone and stuff is a real thing. But like the moment I changed my Facebook thing from married to like blank, the Facebook dating thing is now an
Started popping.
icon on the bottom. And I'm just like, it's like a little heart shape or something.
I don't know. I think it popped up on like my Facebook, and I was like, why the fuck do I do this?
And so I'm literally like the moment, the next upgrade or whatever on my phone for Facebook or whatever,
Oh, you have an iPhone.
that heart thing was there.
Yeah.
And
yours doesn't have it.
and I'm just like, and it says, you know, like I click on the icon because I was like, what the fuck is this, you know? And then it says, launch your profile and meet new singles. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not in the mood. Like, I am seriously not in the mood for small talk. Like, literally, just, I want to come up with an application. And I could email them to them and be like, fill this out. I'll review it and let you know if you get my phone
Oh
number.
my God.
I mean, my friend Michelle, she's like, we'll do background checks and all sorts of stuff. She's like, and then my father told me, you know, he's like, maybe we should find your next person. And I was like, I'm up for anything.
That was
when
totally
that time-
why I put that on Facebook about me, that I am no longer responsible for my own dating career. I will be assembling a committee that, you know, you must have 3 references, and, you know, you're going to have to go through my committee because I can no longer be trusted.
Just find a good dog. Like, have a good dog and just have them.
I
be
took
like,
my dog back. That's really the only thing that I have cried about in this divorce.
You took him back?
Yeah, I took him back on Sunday.
Oh, I didn't know you took him. I knew you didn't want him no more, but I didn't. Oh.
Yeah, I took him back to the Humane Society. So, if you're local, go check out the Joplin Humane Society and please adopt. His name may be Ajax because that's what he was named before we took him for Charlie.
Aw.
But I literally cried in the parking lot, and that's the only time I have cried over this whole experience for the last month.
Well, that ordeal itself was
Yeah.
emotionally exhausting.
Yes.
And at that point, you had probably come to a head
Yes.
with everything snowballing. And that's why I was checking in on you that night. Like, have you breathed? Did you
Kind
breathe?
of. I'm breathing right now.
I didn't
She's
think
still alive.
See, I'm
Yeah.
not a zombie.
It's like sometimes we just have to,
I'm gonna eat your brain.
we just gotta sit in it, the grief, and, you know, the letting it go, and, you know, accepting it.
Yeah.
You know, because love is acceptance, and if we can't accept ourselves, which this is something that I've been struggling a lot with, if I can't accept myself, I can't love myself. If I can't love myself, I can't love anybody else.
Correct.
You know, and so you just gotta take a deep breath.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I got a plug for
I was
you.
gonna ask you what book.
So,
I've read all the books. Are you kidding me? Did Charlie chew on that one?
yes, Charlie chewed on my book. This is the second one. He ruined the first one.
Well, he was working on bettering himself.
Anyways, but I do want to apologize to the lady at the Humane Society. It kind of was a Karen to her when I got there, and she's like, "Oh, we don't do intakes on Sunday," and I was like, "Oh, you're gonna take this dog one way or another. Like, either you're gonna do an intake with me, or I'm gonna let go of the leash and walk out the front door." I was like, you don't know what I've been through.
This
I'm
is already
emotional
hard
drain.
enough.
Like, this is hard enough. I'm like, I live in Kansas. I work 6 days a week. I'm not coming back. Like,
Right.
She looked at me. She said, "You're not coming back from Kansas?" "No, lady, I'm not coming back." And literally, the intake was 3 pieces of paper. It took the dude 3 minutes. But anyways, I think it's Andrea Owen, and it's called "How to Stop Feeling Like Shit." And it's 14 habits that you're holding you back from happiness. I'm already read it, and I'm going to give it to Miss Roberta. And I am going to start reading the second one, which is pink. I like the color pink. Anyways, and it talks about 52 ways to not have a shitty year or something like that. Anyways, you can find her on TikTok. That's where I found this book.
I might have to look her up.
And she basically talks about
Let me see that.
how you can, like, basically how we are sabotaging ourselves. So each chapter is about 14 habits that we all have. One is about controlling. So, like, how do you let control out? There's examples about managers saying how, "Oh, I don't have anybody to delegate that," or self-sabotage. So how do you always, in your mind, like, again, you play this to yourself over and over and over and trying to make it your reality when honestly it isn't. Like, that's not what happened. So you're self-sabotaging yourself before you even get to the end game. And I actually started reading that when Amy came in the picture, and that pissed Jake off. He's like, "Go read one of your self-help books." So I was basically learning how to better myself without him. Because again, in a relationship, you have to learn what you did wrong. Because trust me,
Right.
we're all not perfect. And that makes you look inside yourself. Because also at the end of every chapter, there's questions for you to answer. And it makes you think. And then another great book I read was No More Codependent, or Codependent No More. Anyways, it was really written by or for women who are in relationships with addicts or narcissistic people. And so it basically teaches yourself how, again, to reflect on yourself and how to learn that you don't need those people. And so that's what I was learning. Over the last year, I was learning how I didn't need him. My life didn't revolve around him. So I made myself better and had this glow about me that ate at him. And so I think once I dropped him off at rehab and he gave me, it was kind of like this movie thing. He walked up the ramp, he stopped, he looked at me. I rolled down the window and asked him if he was okay. And that's when he said that regardless of what happens, I do love you. And I said, okay, be safe. I'll see you in 28 days. And I left. So I think at that moment he realized, oh shit, there is no coming back to this.
It was his aha moment.
That must have been his aha moment, because then everything went down shit hill.
Well, and you've heard that saying to where before you diagnose yourself with depression, you make sure that you're not surrounded by assholes.
Yep.
And that has been, I'm not very good with that thing. That has been like a huge, huge thing in my life. You know, like going to therapy, you know, the therapist points out, do you realize that every single person in your life who was supposed to protect you abandoned you? And I'm like,
well,
I never really thought about it that way until now.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Thanks. You know, so then I'm reading stuff about abandonment issues. And then what I found for myself was the shame. You know, I don't know, you know, how other people are, but I was raised in, you know, like a super, super religious, you know, upbringing, you know, very small church. I went to a one-room schoolhouse. I didn't go to a public school till I was in 6th grade. I went from Kansas one-room schoolhouse to a public school in Southern California in 6th grade. And not only was I the new kid, but I was the alien new kid. You know, that, anyway, shame is like the dirty thing that's inside us that holds us back. So I read this really good book. It's called How to Heal the Shame That Binds You by John Bradshaw. It is actually a book that is geared towards alcoholics. Shame is something that is generational. It is passed on from generation to generation. I worked my ass off for years. I mean, like, I found this when I was in my early 20s. This is something that I worked on throughout my entire 20s. And it brought me back from being suicidal. It taught me how to recognize the spiraling, you know, that takes you down into the depths of hell. That, you know, because it takes is that one thought that just sets off like the domino effect. And if you can't stop those dominoes and interrupt it with like some kind of positive affirmation or just a stop sign or just something, then you just spiral and keep spiraling. And so anyhow, I worked really, really, really hard on that. And I brought myself back so far, but I still fell into a narcissistic marriage. You know, I still, and he tapped into that. You know, he tapped into all of those things. He tapped in and gaslighted me. You know, by the time that I left him, I didn't know what side was up. I mean, I remember still being in that fog a year after we separated. And then I had my aha light bulb moment with the word narcissist popping in my head. I hadn't seen it in a book. I hadn't seen it in a magazine. I hadn't seen it on TV. It literally just popped in my head like a gift from God. You know, like God's like, you wanted answers? Here's an answer for you. And so, you know, so I studied that forever. And then here's the icing on the cake. Meth X called me a narcissist. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? But that's projection.
Right.
That is them putting their shit on you. You know, that you think, you know, if somebody accuses you of cheating, they might be cheating themselves. You know, like somebody accuses you of anything, they could be doing it themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. But yeah, that was a really good book, and it really, really, really brought me back. And I've read, oh my God, I've read so many books. But here's the killer. This is a thought that I'm only going to touch briefly on because it takes me down into the depths of hell. But if you knew my life, there's a pattern. The moment anything gets good, it all comes to an abrupt halt. It always comes from left field. The other shoe always drops. Always. And, you know, like the minute that I think something's going to get better, I'm going to get backhanded. I'm going to get drop kicked by the universe. Something happens. So you read books like this. You read the self-help books and the positive, and you do your work, your emotional intelligence work, because you can't afford therapy.
Hey, SCK Clinic's only $35 a session.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm just letting you know.
Right.
If you really need one, they have people.
But I mean, you
Shit, you can come lay on my couch. I'll let you.
you'd be surprised at how much work a person can do on themselves if they just Google, read some books. You know, like fucking, you can get an entire college education at the library for free. You know,
Right.
like it just takes the work to do it. You know, take the time to read it. So anyhow, this pattern of mine, I listen to tutorials on like YouTube, you know, the power of positive thinking, positive affirmations, you know, trying to drill this into my head. And where I get stuck is that, sure, I love the power of positive thinking. Who wouldn't love that? You know, who wouldn't, you know, love all that positive? But my subconscious is like,
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Self-sabotage. We just had a conversation about this.
So I actually really, really, really want to be hypnotized
That'd be cool.
or a lobotomy. It's you know, they don't really do lobotomies anymore.
I'm like, is that
But
possible?
if they were going to, I right here. I'm
I
ready.
think a dude came to the casino that hypnotized a couple months ago. Like, you got to get on his waiting list or whatever. He comes like 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, there's a
I-
place in Tulsa that does it.
I think if my mom was here, she would definitely be like, you really gotta do it. She did it to herself, like got herself hypnotized. It really unlocked like a lot of deep shit.
See, that's
For her.
that's where my problem is it's all the way down into my subconscious.
Yeah.
My subconscious calls bullshit on everything. You know, like my logical mind, it's cognitive dissonance, I think is the actual word. You know, it's kind of like smoking. We know that smoking is bad. We know that it's terrible for you. I could even like start coughing and feel the side effects immediately. But am I going to light this cigarette? Fuck.
But that's what most people
Cognitive dissonance.
get hypnotized for, is to like quit smoking or lose weight or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
mine is to be a better person. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you are a good person.
I'm apparently an asshole. Like, that's what people said at work about me. You're just an asshole. You're one of the boys. You're just an asshole. And I'm like, what? Like, I can get bitchy, but I didn't think I was an asshole.
No, I mean, anybody who is on the opposite side of that fence is gonna perceive an asshole. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. If you're protecting,
I am on the other side of the fence.
That's what I'm saying. If you're protecting your,
Literally, because there's a fence box in front of us.
if you're protecting your healthy boundaries, then somebody who is trying to,
Pick at it.
yeah, they're gonna perceive you to be an asshole because they're not getting their way.
Exactly. That's like our roommates that we all have.
That's projection. Again.
No, our little roommates that are underage and can't work.
Think we're assholes.
They don't know better.
No.
They don't know better.
But I have learned that I'm not settling. I'm not going to accept piss poor behavior. So if I don't like it, then I'm not going to accept it and be like, nope, we're done. Try again.
Right?
3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Right? Because, I mean, nobody needs the bullshit,
No.
really. So, I
And
mean,
we as society, that's what I don't understand. We, men and women of this generation and past and present, or previous and whatever, future, we cause the dating drama. We do. So we all need to get on better standards of ourselves and wake the fuck
Yo.
up
Well,
and stop doing it. Stop lying about yourself. If you are a 350-pound man that's 5'3" and haven't seen your pecker in like 10 years, admit it. You know, if you are a woman who's 5'7" and 450 pounds and you got a fucking beard, because trust me, I saw a lady on TikTok cutting her beard, then admit it. By the way, that's kind of gross. Like, that's my opinion, but I think a woman should have shaved armpits and shaved legs, and I don't care about your arms and your hoo-ha.
You
but
know
like,
what's crazy
if you're
is-
gonna wear a dress, you need to shave your damn legs.
The media has done so much when it comes to our expectations of what we and each other look like. You know, it was the media that caused women to begin shaving.
Yeah, but I think it's gross.
Because if you think about it,
Hair's nasty.
you can look at the timeline. You know, like back in the 1920s was when they started wearing dresses that went halfway up their calves. That was when they started shaving. That was the first time their legs were ever exposed.
That's fine.
You know, in the Depression, they used to draw lines with eyeliner up the back of their legs to make it look like they had nylons on because they couldn't afford those nylons. That was eyeliner. That line that was the seam up, that was eyeliner because they couldn't afford the nylons.
I guess we learn something new every day.
But they were wearing those nylons to cover up the hair on their legs, right? Or they would, they started shaving and then would draw the line on. The same thing with the armpit hair.
Gross.
It was because those parts of our bodies were becoming exposed by the way that our dress style changed. You look at magazines and models, and they all have these unrealistic body shapes and sizes.
It's called Photoshop.
But then, and then you have, our girls growing up looking at these magazines thinking no man is going to want me if I don't look like this. So then you have your catfishes come out, like, because they're real people, well, I want to look like
Just
they
be
look.
honest.
Right.
So I mean, the media, I think, has driven quite a bit of it. And I was, the way that I was raised, I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. And even play makeup, I got in trouble for. I wasn't allowed to pierce my ears until I turned 18 and my body became mine. And that was told to me.
Yeah.
I own you until you're 18. And I'm sure now my parents would be like, well, we didn't mean it like that. But,
Of course they would.
Right.
But, but that's the
Because that's where the
expectation.
toxic behavior started.
And it stuck with me. Anytime I tried to put makeup on, I thought it looked so ridiculous that I would wipe it right back off. Anytime I have my ears pierced, but anytime I try to wear earrings, they feel so fake and uncomfortable. I just can't do it. I think they look great on other people.
Yeah, it's
but
just the mentality you grew up in.
yeah, I just can't get past it,
Yeah. I'm all for my kids to explore their bodies however they want to. So if they want to have hairy legs, they'll have hairy legs. Well, I really don't like hairy legs. But anyways, or hairy armpits. But like, shit, my oldest daughter, Lexi, she's had her head shaved probably for the last 2 years and is like kind of the Patrick Mahomes look. So it's shaved around the side and then, curly on top or whatever. And she's had that look for, shit,
Oh, wow.
3 years now, maybe 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a long time. So, but Shelby's father has this whole thing, oh, you can't cut your hair, you can't color your hair, you can't wear, but kind of like your parents. So, but I keep telling her, I'm like, when you turn 10, you can color your hair. She's like, well, my daddy says, I don't care. Like, it's your body. It's not permanent. It's not like I can make your head blue.
It's like
Right.
piercing babies' ears.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
I don't feel like it's okay because they're not your ears to pierce. I think the person whose ears are getting pierced should have some kind of input into it.
I agree.
But now that Maya's older, she and I have had that conversation. And I'm like, well, you can get your ears pierced, when you can take care of them. And, and I told her, I said, but my one concern for you with having your ears pierced is that as curly as your hair is, they're gonna get tangled in your earrings. And then you run the risk of them ripping out. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that.
Yeah. I told my kids, You'll come when you're ready to get your ears pierced. You'll just come and ask me.
Right.
And we had that discussion with their fathers too.
See, I think it's funny that you guys bring that up because Vince even went to Jude and was like, "Do you want your ears pierced?" Because he has his pierced, and Jude, of course, not really knowing what the fuck is going on, is like, "Yeah, I want my ears pierced." I'm like, "No, you're not getting your ears pierced." And Vince's thing is always, if this was your baby girl, you have already had her ears pierced and everything. I was like, well, yeah, because that's my baby girl.
It works the same way for a boy. My nephew has his ears pierced.
But Vince didn't get his pierced until he was,
An adult?
yeah.
Well, it
just
wasn't in
wait till he's-
style until we were adults.
You just
Yeah,
aged us again.
I
Right.
aged myself. Y'all are like 10 years
But
younger
no,
than me.
like I always said, when the kids are ready to get them pierced, I'll take them. All
Well, I
you do
mean,
is
if
come
he
and ask.
really wants his pierced, probably once he gets older and everything, then yeah, you know what? I'll be more than happy to, as long as he could take care of it himself. I don't want to be the one that's like, okay, we gotta make sure your ear is nice and clean,
Yeah.
and this and
The
that.
upkeep's a lot.
One
Yeah.
more thing.
Gotta twist them. You gotta clean them like twice a day. Yeah.
Because we also started talking about like the boys wanting tattoos.
Nope, not till they're 18. I got one before I was 18 and I regret it. So yes, never. Nope.
No,
My kids will wait till they're 18. They can go get it themselves.
I'll do what my dad did with me, and well, I'm the only one that waited until I was 18. My little sister just got hers, and I think she's 19 now. But like, once we turned 18, if we still wanted our tattoo, like we had to have what we wanted, where we wanted. If we still wanted it, as long as we were 18, he was gonna pay for it. And I mean, his only thing was it had to be meaningful, and you had to be able to hide it.
I agree with the
So-
hiding part. I keep telling my kids nothing on your neck,
Oh God, yeah, no.
nothing on your face. I don't even like chest tattoos. Like you got to be able to hide it.
When I was, oh my gosh. So when I was in my early 20s, it was the mid 90s. I moved up to Seattle for 6 months, so I like really was immersed in like the whole grunge thing. And oh my God, it, it was incredible. But it was eye-opening. And you know, if you really did like the grunge thing and got all the piercings and the tattoos and all of that, you know what happened? You were unhireable.
Not anymore.
You know, it was
Yeah,
like
not
it was
anymore.
a big, huge life choice. It was like, you know, hey, like like getting your tongue pierced or getting your lip pierced or getting your nose pierced or your eyebrow. It was a big deal because that made you ineligible for pretty much any job that was customer facing.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, so I remember that, you know, being a thing. And so now I like look around and I see, you know, people in like drive-through windows and whatever, you know, gas stations, and they have like, and I'm like,
You see,
did you get a job?
That's the funny thing, because like McDonald's, when I was still working there and shit, even if you had your nose pierced or your, like, you had to make sure that it was like that clear shit that you
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
tell that it's there, or like,
The clear stem.
yes, or like they would make you put a Band-Aid over it.
Wendy's was really
I figured
particular.
a Band-Aid would be worse than the actual
no,
piercing.
half the time it was, yeah, no.
Like, wouldn't
Yeah.
you be afraid the Band-Aid would fall in your food?
Wendy's was
I would
really
be.
strict
Yeah.
about things like that too. Like if you had tattoos on your arms, you had to wear sleeves
That's
over
what,
it.
we had
cover it
a
up.
we had a GM that had like tattoos up and down his arm, and each time like we had corporate or whatever, he would cover it up.
But
now,
only when corporate came.
yeah, basically.
And see, by the time I left Wendy's, they like had pretty much given up.
Yup.
They,
That's
I
a-
mean, it was you couldn't. There was too many people. You know, too many people.
And
had,
that's
like,
what I was surprised, like when we first visited Seattle, just seeing everybody with like the colored hair, the tattoos, the piercings, is like, I can't get away with that shit back home.
San
But you guys are
Francisco
like,
is even more
really
free. That's what I would call it, free.
free.
That's San Francisco is the only place where I have seen a white woman with blonde dreads and it not been socially unacceptable. You know, like someplace in like southeast Kansas or Kansas City, I can't imagine that would be socially acceptable. But in San Francisco, it is. They're open-minded enough.
Well, I just keep got to remind myself we're in that Bible Belt. So,
Yes, we are.
like,
The tolerance here is low.
yeah. I mean, they're coming slowly, but I mean, compared to everyone else, it's like we're so fucking behind. Like, get with the program now.
We are.
Right? Yeah, I moved out to Seattle from here, and it was a deluge of new music. It was a deluge of new styles, and just, I don't know, pretty much any time I've ever moved anywhere else from here, it's been, you know.
Culture shock. That's like, I even did my internship up in Seattle, loved it, but the guys would always like call me Dorothy. Because they would open up the doors, and it's like 65 there, and 65 there is so different than 65 here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still like in my hoodie, kind of cold, and they're like, "How the hell are you still cold?" And I'm like, "I'm from Kansas," and they're like, "Oh yeah, Dorothy," and that like they understood where I was coming from because they all went to MIT in Arizona, so they're like they understood the weather down here, but they're all up there like. It's hot as fuck, like, and I'm still over here going, it's cold. Like, it's not hot, it's cold.
Well, 65 in the sun feels a whole lot different than
65
in
in the
the
building.
rain.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
So, that's different.
definitely. Anything else that we need? I don't know. We talked about a lot.
We did.
We did.
We opened up
Yeah.
and gave you a look into our lives, which is kind of scary. Hey, we don't need a creepy laugh. Maybe next time it won't be a big rant. I don't know. We'll see. We got some positive things coming
No.
in our new future. Roberta's birthday's coming up next.
Yeah.
That
On
you know what?
Sunday.
My birthday is like the last thing that I'm even trying to think about because I'm turning.
We don't want to talk about age. We don't want to talk about age.
Okay, well, I'm
You're
turning
turning,
a
yes.
number that if you invert the numbers, it doesn't matter. You're still the same age. And,
That's okay. That's okay. That's a lot. It'd be 22, 33, 44,
Yeah.
55, 66, 77.
We're just
Right,
in our
right.
20s again.
Divided by 2. Who cares? You could say I'm 22 and some change. Anyways.
I'm
But
excited.
you need to celebrate.
Yes.
I am. You know, we are gonna have our party Friday night. That breaking in the new house.
Slime in a different way, but okay.
Are you kidding me?
No. Never mind.
No,
you really
I
don't
get
know what
it.
we mean by
Well, I
breaking.
get it now.
Okay.
Just-
But no,
but-
we'll break it in your style with all of us there with our clothes on and some booze.
Really?
What?
That's he. Of course, he meant it in a sexual way. Everything is sexual. Okay, so I obviously I'm on the naive side, and I didn't get that until just now.
It's okay. We still love you.
Anyway, we are celebrating
Yes.
the new house.
The new you.
I am celebrating my friends
Yes.
that have kept me together. Because, god damn, this past, 2 months has just been,
Yes.
So, we're moving forward. We're celebrating that. For me, you guys think you're celebrating my birthday. I am celebrating you guys and inviting you to celebrate my new home with me. If anybody damages my home in any way, I'm just
Gonna kill 'em.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's gonna kill him.
It's all work people coming over to a work house, so I think they would know better.
Yes.
We hope so.
So,
And we'll have to use a strong man to carry the futon across the
I know, right?
because I'm not carrying this son of a
Right, I
bitch.
don't want to carry that across the yard either. But I'm grateful that you're going to let us use it
Yes.
until we can get something else. And I mean, I think that I have our basic needs covered. I cannot wait to sleep on a real mattress again. I cannot wait to sleep through the night. Like, I haven't slept through the night in weeks. weeks, maybe months,
Feel that.
maybe years. It's been a long decade. Like, I mean, whew, well, you know, Maya was born. That was probably the night. And I'm pretty sure I got up a few times to pee the night before that.
Of course.
So,
You pee
it's-
more than a pregnant woman.
I
Stop
know.
drinking so much coffee.
It's not. I don't think it's that. You
Well, we
know?
know.
Okay, and so then, you know, I'll get some medical results, and that'll give me some answers, and hopefully that'll resolve some of the pain because I've been in so much pain.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just looking forward to a whole lot of new.
Yes. And realizing you're not damaged. So quit calling yourself damaged. Because you're not.
No, damaged wasn't my word. It's contaminated.
You're not contaminated.
Either.
No.
Positive outlook.
That is a
Yes.
whole other conversation and podcast.
Yes. See, we're getting it at it, Vinny. Like, we have shows lined up.
I don't. He already has like a whole nother show for us. Yeah,
One
no.
at a time.
If he had it his way, yeah,
I'm not
no.
living at your house.
I know.
You have no room.
Right. It probably, if we really didn't buy this house, he probably would have just maybe done it out there, like you guys said, and then we could just have our own little community, and he just have his own podcast. No, because he already wants to do girls versus boys, all the wrong answers.
Yeah, he told us
And
about
that-
that.
It's like, I mean, he's had that idea since I think we started the this channel. So it's like, can we just do like one step at a time?
Yes. One step at a time. You can't eat a whole elephant in one bite.
Unless you're Vinny, but
Anyway,
I'm kidding.
we're not talking about the size of his mouth.
Oh my god. Okay. What is it with these dudes that will purposely cram a shit ton of food into their mouth solely for the purpose of the attention of look at my food. Or these dudes will eat food that is super spicy just for the attention of
Because they're trying to be macho.
that is
I don't
not macho.
I don't think it's the guy. It's just you found yourself a fuck boy, and he just
Oh
wants
my
the
God.
attention.
It's an attention whore.
Yes.
My God, if you know what, if it's that spicy, why did you eat it? Why did you take more than one bite? I will give you a pass on the first bite, but you took a second bite. Then
Yeah.
you go in the other room and you fucking choke down that shit in quiet. Do not drag me down with you.
You tell him, Roberta.
Oh shit.
And I guess we'll end at that note.
Don't be bitch made.
Don't be a fuckboy.
Right?
Ladies and men, get your asses off the clearance rack and get better people in your lives.
Seriously. Upgrade your friends.
Oh, yes. Because if you surround yourself with white trash, you're going to become white trash.
Yep.
Gotta put good people in your lives.
Yep.
And I could see events just coming right back to me and making a comment about all of that, but
Vinny, quit being a jerk.
Every single one of us has had friends that should have been better. You
Oh,
know,
yes.
like that friend of mine, you know, that I was best friends with for 16 years. You know, like, she could have been better. You know, she chose her shit. She made her bed, and despite all of us trying to drag her up and out, she wanted to stay where she was at. I don't know if she was comfortable in her misery or what, you know, but she definitely was miserable and trying to make everyone else around her miserable too. And I came in with my bright, shining light, and it wasn't enough, you know? And she used and abused, and I didn't care, you know, because I felt like she needed, you know, something, someone. But you know what, guys? Sometimes you just gotta walk away.
Oh, yes.
It's not your responsibility to drag people out of the ditch.
That's in that book, too.
I'm telling you, I read all the books.
Reread it.
I'll read
You
it
need,
again.
you need to reread it.
So, but this is a perfect example. We're upgrading ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are
Yes.
here and we'll work through it all together.
Yes. And give you guys some great laughs, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Absolutely. Hopefully bullshit. Absolutely. That's like done and done and done.
Okay, so I got a question for you all before we. Yeah, well, it was just more out of curiosity. Did you guys listen to the first episode? Or.
No, because I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
I listened
So-
to some of it, but then I was like, I was there.
Well, no, because Vinny posted it up, and shortly after he posted it up, he's like, "You already got 4 listens." And I'm like, "What?"
Okay, well, that's 3 of us.
Well,
didn't
no,
listen. Vinny
because
was the
that was the
4th.
thing. Because Vinny was the first.
Uh-huh.
I've been trying to search for it. I haven't found it yet. So,
Oh, no, I listened to it on the link that you
Okay,
sent
so-
me.
oh, he sent you a link.
It's on in the Facebook Messenger.
It's in our chat
Oh, I didn't.
group.
Oh, I just. Yeah.
So
Sorry.
who are these 4 sad sacks? No, I'm just kidding. We love you.
They can be part of our petty squad.
We want you to be here.
I love
with
that guy
us.
too, Ron GT or something like that.
I
He's
don't
on
have to look
TikTok.
him up.
He's about the petty squad. His stories are based around Walmart and JCPenney because he's
Oh,
a
Lord.
asset protection person. So he catches thieves basically.
Is he the black dude? Like,
No, he's white
Oh,
with a
okay.
beard.
When I worked at this Walmart here in town, when I was 19, our security guards you'd see them fucking running, chasing people down, and as soon as they got out the door, they tackled them. They can't
do that anymore.
They can't do it anymore,
Right.
But man,
But
it was
anyways,
fun to watch.
back to the whole side chick thing. If you're gonna break the law, don't break it with your side chick, because he was telling a story about how this man and this woman were making out in JCPenney, and the guy dropped his phone, and so they called the wife and showed the video to the wife and showed where they could. And, yeah.
Oh shit!
And the wife told the cops exactly where they can find both of them and all this shit. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
shit.
so if you're going to have a side chick, don't break the law with the side chick.
The truth comes out. The truth is
telling you.
going to
God.
come out. You can't remember all your lies. You can't, fake your way out. The truth is going to come out.
Oh, yes.
It's just so much easier to just be honest.
Oh yes.
And I guess on this note, we're going to sign off. Before we do, though, you guys could catch us on wherever you get your podcasts, Anchor, Google Play. Yeah, I don't know where else.
Yeah,
you
me
could.
either.
She knew more than me.
Apple Store? Yeah, I don't know. Usually.
We'll learn from Vinny.
Yeah, I'll learn.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to shoot us an email, I do have an email set up for us.
Yay!
Just not a. Trying to figure out Facebook still, even though
I'm
hate.
still trying to figure out TikTok.
I got TikTok figured out more than
You
Facebook.
push play, it plays 10 seconds of a video. Right when it gets good, it switches to another video.
It depends on where you're looking. If you have like the app,
Well,
like
and
you
see,
watch
that's the thing,
more.
is then I try to push the button that it's like keep watching, and I try to push that, and it tries to get me to download the app.
You need the
Yeah,
app.
just
I don't
download
have
the
enough
app.
memory on my phone to download.
It's time to
the
upgrade your
app.
phone.
So I'm like, TikTok doesn't
No,
make sense.
that's what Vinny used to watch it all, like it will pop on his Facebook. So he would watch it kind of that way without really had to download the app.
Right.
But now that I send him so many TikToks,
TikToks.
he finally downloaded the app.
I
He's
thought
gonna.
that lady was cute, and she was very inspirational.
I like to think that I have a lot more that I follow that's inspirational, and especially when finding out my ex was a narcissist, TikTok really helped with that coping of the narcissist and really understanding that part. So
I have support groups in Facebook for narcissists if you guys need me to add you.
Okay. I don't know why you whisper.
I don't know, I'm just saying.
I'm still trying to co-parent with a narcissist. So
That's actually the name of one of the groups.
co-parent.
Co-parenting with a narcissist.
Yeah, I'm trying to co-parent, and it's not. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But if y'all want to send us an email with maybe another topic, or if you have any questions that or anything, you could just email us at girlnightout24@gmail.com. I couldn't do girls. Making that email was so difficult.
Oh, I bet it
really.
was, yeah.
I was trying to do like GNO. Nope, it's already been used. Girls Night Out. Nope, it's already been used. It was like, okay, fine. So I'm trying to still figure out Facebook. Trying to get Vinny to help me, but that's not going right now. So
All in good time. All in good time.
yeah. So, but I guess on that note, we out.
See you later.
Night, guys.